All right, so how much did I actually make renting the Tesla through Uber and Hertz? Well, it wasn't really that great. Actually, it's the worst week I've had all year. But anyway, I got things I got to do first. We're going to go through that, and then I'm going to come back in the office, and we're going to break down the numbers. So let's go. All right, so we're back in the office now. And after inputting all the numbers, and I'm going to show you the spreadsheet here in a minute, but after inputting all of the numbers, I got to tell you, the results shocked me a little bit. And maybe, just maybe, because I was coming down back to tier one, my preconceived notions and some of my, I guess, laziness might have been the reason why I didn't do so well. But let's go through it. Let's get into the spreadsheet here. So these are all my numbers, all 40 rides I did from the Tuesday I picked up the Tesla Model 3 to the day I dropped it off, which was the following Tuesday, which would have been a couple days ago. I know I said I was going to keep it for a month, but I figured I had enough data. 40 rides is a lot, 38 of them with the Tesla. Well, I'm sorry, 39 of them with the Tesla and one with the Caddy. So I will actually make this spreadsheet available for anybody who wants to see it. I don't have a problem sending it to you. If you want to use it as a template, you're more than welcome to do it. Anyway, Tuesday we did one trip. All the yellows will be mornings. All the blues will be afternoons. You'll see a Premiere in here. One Premiere. It's the only request I got the whole time on the Tesla for a Premiere. And one XL that I switched out on the Saturday night. Anyway, just looking at all this data, you'll see my tips. You'll see my tolls. You'll see my wait time added in there. And I got to admit, a couple of them wasn't bad. A couple of them sucked. And then the surge. This is the other thing that got me. I did 40 trips in the week, and I only had 1, 2, 3 surges. Only 3. The 2 bronze colored, orange colored here, those were scheduled trips. Let me tell you something about scheduled trips. Uber is getting 30% off the rip with the scheduled trips. Just blew me away. Anyway, that Tuesday I was online 2 hours, 15 minutes. I got one ride. It took 25 minutes. Wednesday, 5.5 hours. Okay, 8 trips. Thursdays, almost 7 hours, 6 trips. Friday and Saturday, I did things a little bit different. I was cherry picking up here. Okay, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, I was doing a little cherry picking. Friday and Saturday, especially Friday, I said I was just going to go for it. Whatever came my way, I was going to go for it, right? That's how I went into it. But this ride right here, this 33-minute, 46-mile ride, 33-mile, 46-mile ride, kind of pissed me off with Uber a little bit because I had to reroute the trip because there was almost a 30-minute delay on the route it wanted me to take, which would have added another 30 minutes to the trip. And we all know Uber wants you to get there as fast as you can. So I rerouted, and it added some mileage, about 7 miles to the trip. Uber, when I contacted support, would not, they wouldn't increase my fare. They said, well, it was a scheduled trip. It was we show you the upfront pricing. It's up to you to accept or not. But dude, there was a huge accident. So I just kind of got a little upset there and we went through it. So anyway, let's just get to the numbers. And these are basically the numbers. Total for the week, 40 rides, 39 of them in the Tesla. Okay. I spent 42 hours and 3 minutes online. 42 hours and 3 minutes online, right? You guys know me. I don't spend that kind of time online. A total of 14 hours and 47 minutes utilized time, right? So all those trips, 14 hours, 47 minutes, which mean I wasted 27 hours of my life I will never get back for a multitude of reasons. The main reason, because I kept turning down rides. I could not believe how cheap the rides were coming through. So what happened on Saturday here, right? We started banging out on Saturday. And these rides, they were coming like this, and I was taking them no matter how far the distance was to pick up. That's the one thing I don't have factored in here is the mileage to pick up. So when I show you what the payouts were, understand it's not including pickup distance and pickup time. Even though we get that on the upfront, you know, it's hard. I'm not going to screenshot. I didn't even think to screenshot, you know, all these things. But I said on Saturday, I'm taking every ride no matter what. No matter what, I'm taking the goddamn ride. And as you can see, X, 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 Uber Green, and an X. The Uber Green was a trip from Boca to the airport. And then the rematch out of it, like I said, I was taking every ride. But then I noticed, man, I'm going 4 miles to pick up a ride, 4.5 miles to pick up a ride, right? And the ride's going nowhere, 419. But the goal was to see on Saturday, if I just accepted everything, would I get good, decent rides? And I got aggravated. So I came home, ate, took a nap, went back out with the truck and banged out right off the rip. Got a $47 ride, went 28 miles of Uber XL, 34 minutes, paid $47.71 after the tip, wound up being a $60 ride. Which, I mean, you start adding up the numbers here. I worked the entire morning to make the same as I did in one ride on XL. This is where my personal frustration came in. But anyway, let's get back to what I was talking about. So I wasted 27 hours because I didn't have all this data in front of me. I was in the process of. My efficiency was 36%. When you look at those drivers out there, I don't care what they're driving, a Tesla, a Civic, whatever they're driving on X, the efficiency that they have, their book time might be, even with Jeff, Uber Jeep AZ, their book time might be 30 hours, but their online time is 38 hours. You follow what I'm saying? Their efficiency is good. My efficiency was garbage because my ego coming from XL, Premier XL, Lux Black XL, when you initially see the $5, $6, $4 ride coming in, it's like, I'm going to do a ride for this. When you're used to seeing $15, $20, $30, $50, $100 on a ride because of the time frame. It messes with you when you come down. And I'll be the first to say it messed with me. It absolutely messed with me. I wasn't ready, so to speak, for that. Although I had a feeling it would happen, I tried to Jedi mind trick myself to thinking, don't worry about that. But it had an effect. So my efficiency sucked. The other thing I probably could have done more is I probably could have went to a busier, shorter ride area. And I'm going to show you why that was probably the move to make. The one thing I did learn, without question, absolutely without question, I will not drive in rush hour traffic. Because of upfront pricing, those rides tend more not to get extended or pay rate go up because of traffic time than they do. Every now and then, I'll get a couple adjusted up. I only had one out of 39 rides, I only had one that they actually added money to the fare. And that was that green one I showed you. So, with that being said, for the week, I made $559, right? Made $60 in tips, had $6.41 in tolls, $1.27 in additional wait time. Came out to about $6.20 or $6.19 when you do all the numbers. Okay, and just to let you know, I triple checked my numbers like 12 times. All right, so my final, because this is the numbers that matter, right? My final was the rental was $411. My charging cost for the week, which is actually pretty important here, we'll get to that in a minute, was $78. So the total rental was $488.95. without tips, not counting tips, because tips are not guaranteed. That's in addition to the fares. And that's all you can base what you're going to do per week as far as your gross versus your net. You can't count on tips. 40 trips, I got tipped 12 total times. Could have been 6, could have been 20, who the hell knows. But the more you drop down to tier 1, the less opportunity you're going to have to get tips. So without tips, I only netted $71, right? After the rental cost, charging costs, I netted $71 in 42 hours. Why is that important? Because my efficiency sucked. It just sucked, right? All right, so without the tips, for the 42 hours, I averaged $13.31 an hour. That's gross. That's not net. That's gross. With tips, I averaged $14.40 per hour gross. I'm doing this for my friend Sergio. But he's right in that respects that it's gross versus net. It's not, oh, I made $550 this week. Yeah, but what were your expenses? Like, you got to consider that, especially if you're going to rent a vehicle. But here's the good part, right? In our Discord group, they would say, well, average $30 an hour. For the time that I was booked, and this absolutely blew my mind, I averaged $37 an hour. Math is truth. Numbers don't lie. My booked time on Uber, I only had the 4 surges the whole week. $37.27 an hour. That ain't bad at all. With tips, $41.27 an hour. Again, that ain't bad. That's damn good if your efficiency is good. And that to me was the key. This is what I didn't see with the rental. If I wouldn't have been such an egomaniac and really looked at the rides, and I did do this on Monday, and it worked. You can make some money still out here, even with the rental, right? If you can get this efficiency up to 60%, 65%, I mean, you're not going to make a whole ton of money renting, but that efficiency goes up. You double the efficiency to 70%. Okay, now we're working with something here, right? Because I'm effectively adding another $559 to my account. So now we're at $600 plus profit. That's a big deal. That's a big deal after rentals. So anyway, you can see all those numbers there. The other part I wanted to bring up, I broke down each ride. So I had 17 X rides, 16 Comfort rides, 5 Uber Green rides, 1 XL ride, and 1 Premier ride. And remember, the Green ride, the XL, was the only ride I took in the Cadillac. The Premier ride was actually in the Tesla. Per trip on X rides, $9.84. But you see here, there are a ton of $8, $7, $7, $5, $4. In other words, the quantity of the trips brought this number up, not necessarily the quality of each individual trip. Again, a learning lesson for me, looking at when the app comes across with $5 a ride. Like, what the. And then for people who like to break it down differently, some people, you guys know I like to go by the mile. A lot of people like to go by the minute. These are not including each other. These are separate. Out of the $167 I made on X Ride, 17 trips, it worked out to about $1.18 a mile, or 52 cents a minute. I didn't bother to go pull up the old rate card and see what that is, because that shit's irrelevant. It doesn't matter anymore. That was 3 months ago, right? So, 52 cents a minute, it's kind of low, right? So if it's a 20-minute trip, you're going to make $10 on the ride. And when you do the numbers on average, it's exactly what it comes out to. Or $1.18 a mile. So it really does come up to what you think you're going to do. Comfort. I did $251 on 16 rides. Average trip on Comfort, $15.69. My per mile average, for the total rides was $1.19. And my per minute, though, went up a lot if you're just going by the minute to 60 cents a minute. So there's a slight increase from X rides to comfort rides for me on my trips. I got paid a little more per minute. You start adding that up at the end of the week, I guess you got a significant amount. Uber Green. Now, see, this is where I had the problem with Uber Greens. This is why I only have 5 of them. Apparently, Uber is pushing Uber Green vehicles. And I think they're offering them like a 20 or 25% discount on Uber Green rides, right? The problem with the Uber Green trips is they were like 7, 8, 9, 10 miles away for pickup. Like, I don't care what kind of math you do, that don't make no damn sense at all. Maybe there's not a lot of cars out there that whatever vehicles they're sending, there could be Tesla onlys. I don't know. But if that's what they're doing, then maybe there's not as many Teslas on the road as I think there are, or that are open up to Uber Green. If those rides would have been closer, I would have done them. Because, look, off the $63 on Uber Green rides, 5 trips, $12.60 average per trip, $1.15 a mile, 70 cents a minute. Now, that 70 cents, if you're a little more efficient, like I was not, if the rides are easier to pick up instead of having to drive, take a vacation to go pick them up, this number might increase. The 70 cents might get up there. You don't know. The 1XL trip, $48, right? One trip paid me $1.71 a mile or $1.42 a minute. This is why people went out and bought during the pause, why you see so many Suburbans and Premiers. Look at this Premier trip, right? Paid $44 before the tip, right? $3.14 a mile, $1.50 a minute, depending on how you like to figure your numbers. So we come back over here to the rental charge, charging costs, total rent, $488.95. Without tips, I made $71. With the tips, I made $131. If I double my efficiency, which looking back on it now, I could see where I would double my efficiency, maybe I net 600 in that 42 hours. Maybe. It's a toss-up. I think it's very doable. Knowing your market, knowing when to work, where to work, knowing how to work. Monday here, I jumped on straight up. I wouldn't take any rides within, if they were more than 2 miles away, I didn't accept it. That's just the way it is. If I were going to stay on X, well, let me finish this first. Fuel costs on the EV, I did a total of 940 miles. I got the receipt over here. Did 940 miles. I still don't know how I did 940 miles on that car. But 940 miles, total charging was $78. If I would have put that same 940 miles on my truck, it would have cost me $143.50. This is a no-brainer. This is what I said in my last video. You cannot beat the fuel efficiency. You cannot beat the fuel efficiency of an electric vehicle. I don't give a damn who you are. It ain't happening. When I did the last video and I showed how to charge the Tesla, how to set up, my peoples, WeZoom, Unbroken Driver, out from the West Coast, they were like, Jesus, your charging is cheap. Ain't ever charged in California. But I'll tell you this, $78 versus $143.50, I'll take the EV charging all day long. So these are the final numbers. My final thoughts are pretty easy. It's as simple as this. If you buy the Tesla, you're looking roughly right now with all the tax breaks, the price drops. You can get into a Tesla for about anywhere from like $650 to $800 a month, depending on what year you buy. I would not, if I were going to buy a Tesla, I would not buy a Model X. I would buy the Model Y. And that's the other point too, y'all. Remember, I was only allowed to use Uber. I wasn't allowed to multi-app. If I were doing Uber Eats, obviously that's another type of platform. DoorDash, I could have got away with DoorDash. Uber only required me on the rental to do 30 trips with them. So I could have done a Walmart Spark. I could have done a DoorDash. I could have done a Rodeo. I didn't. I kept it strictly on the Uber app. You can get a Tesla $650, $850 a month. Your insurance, another $150, $200, depending on your driving record. So for $1,000 a month plus charging, you figure versus the 2,000, it's a big difference. So you can bring your costs down, increase your earnings. I'm all in. Like, no joke. I think the Tesla is the way to go. I think Tesla has the best charging platform. The car is so damn easy to drive. Renting it, all I can say is this. It all comes down to efficiency. If your efficiency sucks, you're going to get your ass kicked renting a Tesla from Uber because you only have the one app. If you're purchasing it and you can multi-app on all the different apps, I think you make a killer, man. I really do. And you'll have the best EV out there on the market. So I hope this helped. I hope you learned something. Like I say, I'll make this available if somebody really wants to dive into my numbers. I got no problem doing that. If you want to use it as a template, I got no problem doing that. It's just the way I see it. That was my experience. August 15th is my date. We're going to go ahead and jump on a Model Y, and we're going to make that money heading into the new year. So, hope everybody learned something. We'll see you next time. Sorry I made you wait on the video, but I had to triple check these numbers because, math is truth. Numbers don't lie. See you next time.